Hey guys, welcome to the podcast this morning. This is the $7 to $100 million podcast. I am your host, Tim Warren. Love doing SEO. I'm joined by Danielle Sfire, who is a unicyclist on the weekends, and Paul DeMott, who in his free time enjoys petting kittens, raising kittens, rescuing kittens, and is all things kittens. What's up, guys?
Hey, good morning. I wish I could actually do all these skills.
You can unicycle.
Anytime you mention one, I'm going to start adding it to the list. And
I probably do everything that he's.
Don't self-deprecate, Danielle. You know you can unicycle.
I couldn't tell you the last time I got on the bike.
Well, but I don't know underwater.
Paul, how many cats are you up to now?
I'm not saying.
No, okay, all right, fine. That's private. We can't share that information.
Yeah,
guys, there's only so much that can be live streamed. There's only so much we can share. All right, so I want to kick us off this morning with an interesting conversation that I want to have. So I was watching a video this morning by this British guy. I've heard of like Wembley and Dorsetshire. And it's like, all right, cool. I have no idea where those are, but cool. And he was talking about when brands try to charge way more and it falls flat. And then how to some brands, like he's like, you go to the Ritz and you go get tea at the Ritz, their Sunday tea is 95 pounds a head. And people are like, okay, right? He's like, but if you went to Panera and Panera said like afternoon tea, $95, you would be like, the frick, right? You'd be angry, right? He's like, there would be a riot. And he said, when you charge, people will try to take your category. And he said, within the expected price for your category, they're like, oh, franchise food or fine dining or steakhouse. If you charge within what they think is the expected range, people don't bat an eye on price. But when you charge above that expected range, people get really suspicious. They start to get super suspicious, and they're like, then they get like mean and attacking and negative, and they're like, this piece of trash. So to summarize some of the things he said in the video, he said, if you're selling like $8,000 bespoke custom built furniture, like tables, right? He's like, and then you put those on Facebook Marketplace, you're selling the wrong thing in the wrong place, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, and then he talked about you can't have this super, like we're a 4-star hotel, and you're like we're like this, private cottage, right? And then it's like kind of a okay hotel downtown London, and he's like, it's not even close. You're not in the same category, but you're trying to like fake that you're in a category just from a pricing standpoint. And he's like, that never works. So here was the interesting takeaway. He said, if you're gonna charge way more, you have to associate yourself with the category where that would belong and make sense, right? Which I thought was really interesting, right? So he's like, if you want to charge $4,000 for a purse, you have to be like, or Hermes, or whatever, Louis Vuitton, right? But if you're just like, this is a really nice purse, it's $2,000, but it's a TJ Maxx, people are like, what the heck is this, right? Because of where you are and what they're expecting in associations. So I was thinking about this, Paul, and I wanted to start this conversation around why do we have such a wide pricing disparity? Right? Why do some companies come in and they're like, all right, we're going to spend $4,000 a month on SEO and that's it. And then other companies are like, we'll spend $13,000 a month on SEO. And other companies are like, we'll spend 25. And I think I'm starting to realize something. Number one is what they expect the thing is going to cost is widely different, right? So when somebody expects it's going to be 4 and we show them 25, they're like, you guys are insane. Like there's no chance they go with that, because they're like, why is that purse so ridiculously expensive? You're crazy, right? When they expect the purse is going to be 4 and it's 6, they're like, oh, why is it 6, right? And then, but they're not like angry. It's like, oh, what? And they're like, oh, well, it was, baby camel leather that we raised ourselves. And then they're like, oh, wow, right? And it's like, and we raised these by hand and then made the purse out of it. Like, oh, okay, right? And it's like, there's a story, and they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Feel bad for the camel, but still, cool story. And all right, and there's like a reason behind it. Paul, what I'm worried about, I think, with just our immediate price increase, like, boom, here's 12, here's 25, here's this, is he said, if what are the other people that they're looking at when they buy from you? right? So like if they, wow, we are moving around all kinds of places on the screen. Holy.
Oh, I didn't know that changed it for everybody.
ADD. Yeah. Now I'm like, oh, okay.
There we go.
Oh man, there's just Paul.
Paul is playing with the tools per usual.
Hold up.
It's his favorite thing to do.
How do we go back to where it shows the helium, but we're not all on the tiny on the left-hand side? Now Paul's just big.
Yeah, I don't want to just be the.
It's just Paul.
It's this one.
Oh,
There we go. Oh, okay, sweet. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's very distracting. What's happening? I thought you were like screen sharing. All right. So anyway, back to the idea. He said, like, if they're looking at Helium and then they're like, okay, here's Ignite, here's WebFX, here's 4 or 5 others. What do they cost? Oh, they all cost $5,000 a month. What do you guys cost? $12,000. The people will be like, what? Like, why? Right? And they won't like it. They'll just disregard it as like, you guys are delusional. Mm-hmm. He said, he's like, when can the consultant charge $25,000 a month? He actually threw that out pounds, but same idea. He said, when there's a boardroom meeting and the executives are in the boardroom and they're like, we have this problem we need to solve. And a name gets thrown out. Someone's like, oh, there's this guy. This is what he does. This is all he does. He does that thing and he's the best. They're like, all right, call him. And then you call that guy and he's like, no, I don't do 20 things. I'm the best at solving this one problem. Like, what's the charge? He's like, $25,000 a month. And they're like, but you're the best at this? That's all I do? He's like, okay. And so I realized, this is just an interesting thing, is can we charge more by doing less? In other words, are we solving valuable enough problems for the right people where we can charge enough? And then for the other ones, is it like, well, everybody else charges $4K a month. Why are you $8? And then it falls flat because we're in the wrong category. Like we've put ourselves in the wrong category where it's now commodity. And he said, no amount of pricing strategy works with commodities, because when people look at the commodity, like toilet paper, they're like, what's the cheapest one? Right? Mm-hmm. There's no luxury toilet paper. Maybe there is, but not really.
It'd be tough,
right?
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there and just like talk through this, because I thought that was a really interesting point. Just raising our prices does not recategorize us. It might just make people angry because it's way more than they're expecting to pay. And then they're like, you guys are delusional. And it actually creates negative sentiment.
Well, my initial thought is, are they angry because they're coming in, if they have worked with an SEO company, one, if they're meeting with us, they're clearly not happy with their current SEO company. Right. So they're going off their thought of what the price is going to be based on their experience. So we already have the advantage of, one, we have a phenomenal client service team. So for me, that's the primary reason we can back up our pricing, is the value that a client will get compared to any other agency. I have the utmost confidence in saying this, is just leaps and bounds better than anything I think a lot of people have experienced. And so, one, I think that actually could help to justify the price, because you've been paying this, but you've been getting this. Yeah. So I understand that the price may be this, but you're going to get this and this and this and this, and it's going to be so much better, and you're going to be so much richer. So I think that's a part of it too, is their thought of the pricing is just based on what they've already experienced. So if they haven't experienced greatness, well, this is what it takes. That's just kind of my initial thought.
Yeah, that's a good reframe of like, you spent low. How was it? Bad. Well, don't spend low and get bad again. Spend high and get good. Right? Yeah. Okay. Paul, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm trying to think through, because I think this is a tricky question, especially with the leads that are coming in, where people have expectations. And then we also have instances where someone's expectations are even lower. And it's like, well, do we want to sell? Do we want to give up that potential deal?
Right.
Because like the other way we could deal with this is figure out how to be more profitable on smaller deals. So that's another strategy. I'm trying to like kind of think through like how do we get out of TJ Maxx when we're selling people that are looking at a lot of different companies.
Right.
And I do agree that if you can be that person that gets referenced in the boardroom, then you have the ability to offer that price. But how do you make that like a predictable source of leads? Like that's a referral, but referrals are not very predictable. I
just want to throw this out there too, just like as we kind of talk through this, Paul, and just maybe this will like help with the thinking. So the other thing that I was kind of thinking through this morning is you will typically get paid in relation to the difficulty of the problem you solve and the value of the problem you solve. Mm-hmm. And so I was also wondering so the person goes to TJ Maxx and they're like, I need clothes to clothe my body so that I'm not cold, right? Or illegal, right? Because it's illegal to be naked in most states, right? And so you're like, I need clothes. But that's not why people go to like Balenciaga, right? You don't go to Balenciaga and buy a $600 shirt because you need clothes, right? You go to Balenciaga because of the statement and what you want to promote with your clothes and who you want to be and all that, right? So they've evolved. They're in a different category than like we sell clothes. Balenciaga sells image, right? And status, right? Nobody needs a Bugatti, right? You buy a Bugatti because you want the status of Bugatti, right? And nobody needs to drive 300 miles an hour. It's illegal pretty much everywhere except the racetrack, but right, people buy these cars. So it's not because they need them. They only need a moped, right? That will get you from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about this, and it's like, okay, recently, when I think about the deals we've sold, Paul, most recently that have had the highest price tag, it is multi-location businesses. And so this is a painful problem. They're not sure how to solve it, right? And it's a major problem. Like if you don't solve this and franchisees fail and franchisees go out of business, like your business could die. Like it's a big issue, right? Yeah. And if you have multi-locations and you don't get work and these offices fail, like you could lose a ton of money. So this is like a major issue for them. Because they have multiple offices, it by default means they're a bigger company. So they already have more marketing budget to spend. And they probably don't get bigger if they don't believe in marketing in the first place to actually get bigger to have enough dollars. So there's this like self-perpetuating thing. So I was wondering if the multi-location business, why the high price works there is because the problem, like they spend more money on marketing already. The problem is more important for them. It's more valuable for them for us to solve it, so they'll spend more money. And our solution is much more unique and powerful than anything else they've seen in the market. Therefore, they're like, I'll pay more for this, right? So then I think that's why that has worked. So obviously if we can get more multi-location businesses, that will be better. I think that's where we can go in and say, look, the floor is $15,000 a month. And it's because boom, 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 boom. And it would be fine.
Yep.
Now, where I don't think that's going to work, and I think we both agree there, I think the challenge is with Facebook and Google Ads, how do we drive more multi-location businesses? How do you do that, right?
Yeah.
Is that possible? Whatever. I think then the other question is for the leads we are currently getting in that are just normal businesses with one location or a couple locations, or they're smaller and they want to spend $4 or $5K a month or whatever it is, right? If we can we give them the $4,000 purse, or are they just not, whether they're angry or not, they're just not going to buy it because like it's too expensive, right? I'm not going to do that, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the other thing it made me realize is if they go to Web and they get a $4,000 price, and they go to Thrive and they get a $4,000 price, and they come to Helium and they get a $5,000 price. We're all in the same category, right? Now they're realistically able to like look at A and look at B and look at C and kind of think through them or whatever. Then we're not category of one. We're not way different, right? Mm-hmm. And we can say we're better. Danielle, the stuff you said is totally true. The only downside is that they're like, well, Web told me the same thing. They said that they're the best and their people are better, and you said your people are better. Like, and it's not something we can truly end up differentiating on because it's me making a claim, my people are great, and they're like, but our people are great too. And then the client. So while it is true, the client doesn't know how to verify it because they're like, yeah, but these other guys said they were great, and my last firm said they were awesome. And then I worked with them, and they couldn't find their own butt with a mirror and a telescope and a map, right?
Yeah, but that's where like the review proof, the point of tracker proof, or the tracker, all that we can show why we are who we are to these people though as well. I'm sure other agencies have that too, but we do have, what did you say the other day? The proof is in the pudding. We have the pudding in various flavors. wanted to show you.
I think why we close deals, because
Yeah.
people are like, yeah, you guys are legitimately better. But yeah, so how do we? So what are your guys' thoughts on this issue, which is like for the standard business that comes in, and let's say they're anchored, they're expecting to spend about $4K on SEO, right? When we show them way more, they're like, why is the sandwich so expensive, right? Mm-hmm. We're in this category now. How can we get out of that category, become a category of one? What can we do differently? How could we make the experience so different that they're like, this is totally different than that, right?
Yeah, I think that my initial thoughts are this is where, how do we become the category of one comes into play? So let's just say they meet with us, they meet with Thrive, they meet with WebFX. How do we make sure that when they meet with us, it's like a very different offer? Like we are actually pitching like the all-star offer and it feels very different. If our pitch, which I think it does today, sounds kind of similar, like ours might be better, but like, is it that different? Is it that much better? Like, is it categorically different? I don't know if it's categorically different. And on the bigger deals where we win, I think that we are categorically different. So this is kind of like what I was mentioning yesterday, where like on these bigger deals, like one thing that is consistent with them is that we are showing them data that nobody else is. We're visualizing where they're at today, and then kind of reverse engineering specifically what they need to get to where they want to be. So we're showing them their dream outcome, like with like true data. And then we're painting a picture of what is necessary to achieve that dream outcome. And the cost is not surprising because the cost is kind of originates from the data, not from us just saying, hey, it costs more. It's like, this is just what it costs to achieve your dream outcome. Not like we can do it cheaper, we can get there slower, but like you can't avoid this work if you want to achieve that goal. It's just how fast do you want that work done? So I think there's like the two angles, I think there's three angles. So I think one angle to differentiate yourself is to be like that niche specific expert. So like we're the absolute best at this specific thing. So that could be multi-location SEO. The other way is, like I'm saying, to show them their dream outcome and what it takes to achieve their dream outcome from a SEO resource standpoint. But the downside of that is it requires a fair bit of effort in the sales process to show, walk through, etc. But the advantage to that is that's a moat, because like other people might not do that. And it might be better to put more time in and win fewer deals that pay more than win a bunch of deals on like sort of package. Like it's like today, I think a lot of our sales are sort of like pseudo packages is the feel. Like they're not like, we're not as package oriented as we were, but they still like, it's kind of like, oh, here's all the stuff that you're going to get, but it's not like, here's how that stuff achieves your goal. And that's why you're achieving it. And then I think the last piece that I was going to say, this is where like something Sean was working on with the Hermosi chat or GPT bot is you can become a different category by selling something totally different, a different version of the same thing. So if you're selling a monthly reoccurring retainer, that categorically puts you against like the other players in the space. But if you are selling a framework, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, each of them all have names to them and outcomes and milestones and deliverables. And we think about even like the liftoff framework. Like say that was like part of our whole SEO process. Like, hey, this isn't just about SEO. We need to figure out what the lead magnet is. We need to get that working so that even when the traffic comes in, like you guys have lead flow coming in. Then we need to do this. Then we need to achieve this milestone. And it's like a multi-phased approach. That's going to seem so different than other companies quoting a 12-month contract. Or a month-to-month contract. So I think there's a different ways to skin the cat, but those are some of my initial ideas. And I also think it's why like we're sometimes able to charge a lot more. Like we charge more because we show them more data. We change their beliefs about how to achieve the outcome. And then we show them logically what it costs to achieve that outcome. That's true of all of the most recent deals that we've done, actually, that have been that like where they are in a higher category, and we're not getting priced up against like a Thrive. So yeah, I think those are my thoughts. And so I think that like I kind of think niching down is a form of new, like where it is like there's pros and cons to it, and it's something we don't really do today, and it's not what our business has been built on. And so the niching down angle to it is the least appealing to me. But I think the other ones where it's like we sell our product so differently than everybody else. It stops being this like monthly reoccurring. It's like it's a framework where milestones are achieved, and we have the data to support it. Like I think if we did that, it would be great. Now the downside is that like the rate that we are doing discovery calls and meetings, like how realistic is it that we can do that? And like, can we only really do that when we get really good leads? But do we have enough of those really good leads yet to really justify it? I think these are all questions that we'd have to figure out.
I was wondering if we could change the sales process for the smaller deals. So this is just where my head goes as I'm trying to process through this. I think we actually know what to do, what to change for the bigger businesses, where it's like, hey, are you a bigger company? Do you have a bigger marketing budget? Do you need more sophisticated, like all that? I think we know exactly what to do there. That's like our RFP process almost, right? And it's we come in and we offer so much value and we win the deals, and those are great. I think we know what to do there. I think what I'm talking about, Paul, is when it feels like a commodity because we are more commoditized and they're looking at 4 other vendors and whatever. Like I think in these other deals, they're not really looking at other vendors. They're talking to Helium and they're like, you guys are so much different and so much better that they're not shopping us around nearly as much. Or in like one case, they're shopping it around because they have to. They talk to 8 other firms and they come right back and they're like, you guys are definitely the best. And they're already sold. And then we just have to get the pricing right. For these other ones, these commodity ones, is there a way with our product, our pricing, the message, the system, we could like disrupt the thinking, right? Where we could make it a different experience, so different right out of the gate that it disrupts the like, this is TJ Maxx, right? So here's just a thought that I had. Everybody's trying to sell these monthly reoccurring, packages to the smaller businesses. But what we learned yesterday in the meeting is that for a whatever $3,000 deal, it actually costs us $6,000 in the first few months to get this thing really up and running. So when we sell it at $3,000, like they have to go for like, however many, 6 months, 12 months for us to even make money, right? And then we look at the point of impact tracker and we find that a lot of these businesses were driving a way higher ROI than they're paying for. And then some are not. They're not driving 25x. They're getting like a 4x, right? But a lot of them are getting higher numbers. So what if we came to the table already and we said, would you be willing to pay us for growth? Like, would you be willing to pay us to grow? Right? And they're like, yeah. And it's like, hey, how high is your belief? Do you believe a lot in this? And they're like, not really. Like, totally get it, right? Totally understand. But hey, if I grew you by $5 million, would you pay me 10% of that? If it's just a thought experiment. They're like, yeah, I'd pay you 10% of that. Cool. But you don't believe I can grow you by $5 million, right? And they're like, nah, you can't. Okay, cool. So what if we reframed it and said Paul, what if it was like our service starts at 5K. If you want Helium service, we're 5K and above for ads management, SEO management. This is where we are. This is where we play. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then under 5K a month, what if it was simply pay for performance? And so what if it was simply you pay us a percentage of what we actually drive, right? So we'll take more of the risk because we're going to get paid a percentage, but we're going to get paid a percentage of whatever we drive, like actually a percentage. So whatever the point of impact tracker says, we're going to bill you, we're going to invoice you 10% of that amount every month, right? So if we grow you by 200,000 a month, we're going to invoice you 20K a month. Like that's how this is going to work, right? what if we totally reframed it that way? So then, and then not saying that we actually even do that. What if we framed it that way? So then people are like, well, oh, that's how you price. And they're like, oh, well, what if you drive me $5 million? Yeah, we'll bill you 500 grand. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay 500 grand. Well, that's how this would work. We would grow you by $5 million. And they're like, yeah, but is there like a package we could have instead where, we don't have to pay $5 million? Yeah, there's packages. And then we show the packages and they're like, well, maybe I'll just buy the $5,000 a month, or the $8K a month or whatever, to make, so I don't have to ever owe you $5 million or $500,000. You can do that, right? What if it's like we reframe the price because we're so different? It's such a different approach that it's now a totally different category, where it's not, here's our $3,000 SEO program. You're going to start and just kind of go forever until, and this is how long people go for and whatever. And then they're just looking at like, can I fit this in my budget every month? Do I want to spend $3,000 every month forever? Like, that's how they're thinking about this, versus we reframe it as just pay me what I drive, and you'll pay me more on the months we drive more. You'll pay me less on the months we drive less. You're simply paying for performance like a sales rep. Like, we are a sales rep for your company. Now, obviously there's ad spend, so it's like a little more complicated, but what if we did that? Like, what if we just reframed it as a sales tool, but not actually, because people will go for that and actually want to buy that?
I think that's an intriguing option, that it just like differentiates us in the sales process. We sound so different than everybody else, and we are focused on their true pain and talking about their true pain. And I think you're right that most of the time they wouldn't end up wanting to do that. But it would maybe achieve the goal of putting us in a different category versus the other commodities. So I think that's worth testing. I think we can't know unless we test, but the theory is sound and worth testing.
Do you guys have any other ideas of how else could we, if we wanted to make the experience like totally different, right? So, and we wanted to make it where it's like we were a category of one, it's totally different, right? Mm-hmm. How could we make our sales process, or Paul, to your point, our whole process just so different, right? I'm reading the book Persuasion, which is one of Hormozi's favorite books. I started it last night, and he said that in marketing and sales, the things that get people's attention are scarcity, uniqueness, and difference. If something is just like very different, it will drive attention just for the fact of it being different, right? I'm wondering, like, what else in our sales pitch, what could we do that's completely different, where it's like, wow, this is different, right? Not even if it's not even better, it's just way different, which allows us to reframe.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's hard to answer without knowing what everyone else's is like.
That's a good question.
Like, do we need to have a secret shopper so we can gather this data?
We have done that before, and we probably still have some of that data.
But would it be relevant? Because I don't know how recent that was. Because at the rate that we change, the rate that we have not changed or have updated our systems, I'm sure other people have too. So I think it might be worth maybe having someone do that.
Interesting. Let's just see. This was what Sean shared the other day. Yeah, so I'm gonna send this to you, Tim, in chat. But like, the idea is, what if a big part of our process was combining the liftoff framework with SEO, and then what if there's like phases to it? That would make us stand out a fair bit compared to people just pitching SEO. Like, the idea is like, this is like this is like the all-star package, not just like hey, we're going to take care of your SEO. We're going to help you figure out a lot about your business and then apply that to SEO. So, okay. So then it's like, it's called like the SEO operating system, and it's a like multi-milestone delivery with different phases. And the outcome of it isn't just SEO ranking and revenue. It's like finding, the right lead magnet to run. It's, helping you understand like product versus product service margin. Like, it's just like, if you want to be in a different category, you need a package that's solving a bigger problem. Like, you don't want to just be like, oh, we need, if someone's like having a conversation, oh, hey, we need somebody who like helps us with, some like SEO content and backlinking. Let's go hire a company. Like, you want to be the company that's like, hey, you don't even like, that's what you think you need, but you actually have these other problems that you need to solve that are way more important, that are higher leverage. And so our process is
like Hormozy's process, where it's like, you watch the video and it's like, hey, get our free scaling roadmap. And they're like, okay. And then it's hey, get a call with a sales rep to see if you want to come to our conference. Right. And the conference is $5,000. Then you go to the conference, and then there's the $45,000 upsell. And then for the big ones, there's the $135,000 upsell. And then there's the probably live at our house for a week for the $1 million upsell, or whatever that one is. Right. They just keep having more upsells. Sleep in our doghouse for a month, $1 million. Right. 10 million, live in my closet for a week. Whatever the 100 million, whatever that one is.
I think Hormozy would take anyone up on that.
Absolutely.
I would live in someone's closet for $10 million, like, unless I was worried about my safety.
Even if I was worried about my safety, I'd still go for it. You're going to sleep in that closet. I'm not going to sleep in the house because you're weird, but you can still sleep in my closet. We are fulfilling on the contract.
Yeah.
So, Paul, I like your idea a lot. What you're trying to say basically is, what if we reframed the, like, I need SEO and ads? Well, why? Well, the business isn't growing. It's not making enough money. Why? Well, I don't know why. Right. Exactly. Hey, here's all the stuff that you need. Hey, do you guys close 35% of your sales or higher? Yeah, we close 80%. That means you're way underpriced. You should actually be pricing this much. What if you can make? And so what if the I need SEO conversation, to your point, turned into a business consulting? Here's the levers that you need. Here's ads. Here's leads. Here's close rate. Here's pricing. Here's growth. And there's all the steps, and it's like liftoff framework. And you were saying instead of selling SEO,
more as like a fractional CMO of sorts, that with a powered agency behind it that's executing all the work.
That's really interesting. So you get them in a way
to, we'd have to train the team and stuff, but it could just be a way to like be in a totally different, and it could be like an alternative to a commodity price. So like maybe we basically make try to make our smaller packages more profitable. So that's like an option. But then like when we go up to this like 11, 12 number, it's beyond just, it's not just the commodity. It's like, we are going to help you figure out like the whole marketing picture. That's what you actually want. You just think you need SEO right now because you don't understand enough of like the full marketing picture. You might need SEO, but like you've got these other problems that are actually crushing your business more. Like, let's say that, the close rate, let's just say the close rate's 80%. It's like, well, okay, why are you charging so much? That type of thing is, I think how somebody in their mind justifies so much more. Like, you're not just a purse, you're a purse with a, like, we're going to like bring you out for a day. You're going to try on a lot of clothes. We're going to try a bunch of different purses. We're going to find which purse is the perfect one for you. We're going to like get it tailored. You're all of that. And then it's like, okay, that makes sense that purse costs a lot more money than the one that's on the TJ Maxx rack.
That's an interesting idea. Going for consulting, like reframing it, like, I need SEO. No, you need consulting. The other thing too, Paul, is the consulting is more profitable because, consulting doesn't have as many service deliverables, so it's a lot more profit. So selling the knowledge and the strategy and the help and the advice. I mean, that's really what we did for River City, right? Is right out of the gate. It was like a $6,000 project to here's consulting, here's the advice, here's what I'm meeting with them again today. So I'm curious to see kind of what they say and what they come back with. But in the conversation, like in the liftoff framework, basically we looked at like, what's your CAC? $1,300. How much you want to grow by? This many things. Okay, you're going to need a marketing budget of this many million to get to this objective. But if I was on a discovery call and we didn't have all that mapped out, like very few people know their CAC on a discovery call, right? Like very few people know that number. And then it's, if they do, they don't trust me enough to take my advice. If I say spend $1 million, right? They're like, who are you, bro? Right? There's not enough trust yet built up. So I'm just curious and wondering, like, that's an interesting strategy, because then the goal is to actually get them to trust you enough to take the advice. And people
what if that is just, I mean, like, maybe it's achieving multiple purposes. So like, maybe they don't trust you, like, after one meeting. Like, I wouldn't expect many people to be like that. Like, they might trust you, but not like trust you that, like, for that.
Not enough to actually take and implement the advice.
Right. Yeah. But one, that gives us a way to anchor them on a, like, oh, on these packages, this is like, that's what you get. And that's really what a lot of people need, actually. They think they need SEO, but they really need that. And that's also like where we're building a scale plan. So not just like, how do we grow you, but how do we like keep growing you? And like, how do we make sure the whole business model is working? So even if they're not ready today to trust you to be that consultant, maybe it's also serving to anchor. And then, then the like $5,000-$6,000 package is more digestible. So it, like, and then, in some cases they will trust us. But I do think that's more meetings, more offering of value and stuff for that trust to be developed. But then that's also something we can always upsell too. Like, if they really like working with us, like, we could just, so maybe we sell them like the gateway in, and then, but like, we pitch them that at the beginning. And then once we're working with them and like, we actually have built a really good relationship, that's like where we progress to. So the idea is kind of, we're like integrating the liftoff framework more into it. I think if you look at like Hormozi's strategy of like, what was he pitching versus what everyone else was, like, everyone else had these commodity, like, kind of very similar processes. And his was more of like, I'm going to give you everything you need to be successful, and to grow to this size. Mm-hmm. And so, like, just from a quality evaluation standpoint, his just looked a lot like, yes, it was more expensive, but also it's like, it was going to help your business a lot more. And so I think kind of if we combine the liftoff framework with SEO, it helps to make that more expensive package make more sense to like, why is that more expensive? How does that help me achieve my dream outcome better? It makes sense at that point versus us just taking a package and being like, our SEO is just more expensive.
Yeah. Because if we're just, I liked his point. Like, if our ham sandwich is just triple the price, people will be like, well, why? Right. And
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But if it's a completely different experience, right? It's a steakhouse, right? Like, when you think about a steakhouse, it's like, how much are you expecting to pay? Probably $150 a head, right? Because and then you go and there's expected experience, whenever, and then they're judging you against that category. They're not judging you against Chipotle's price, right? Because they expect the category is different. So basically what we're saying is, how do we change the category? How do we reframe the category by creating a totally different experience, and then people put us in a different bucket, right?
Yep.
That's actually really interesting. I also like this idea of, if we are less profitable on small deals at the beginning, because there's all this work and the setup and all that stuff, but then they don't buy the bigger package because they don't trust that it's going to work, or they don't trust us enough yet because they're looking at everything else at these different categories. If we could come in and add way more value on the front end, that's actually really interesting, because we could then add so much value that they trust. They're like, wow, okay, this is really good. Then they're willing to take a better recommendation of, look, $3,000 SEO packages don't really do much. They typically don't really do much. You really need this or this or this. But then it's, how much can you really spend? What are you trying to accomplish? Like, how much can your business, where are you trying to go? What is this whole thing? What should you be spending on marketing?
It makes the smaller one look more appetizing, basically. Like, is it like we anchor them on a higher price, and we tell them that's like really what you want. And that's like what you, today you're only really ready for this, but like for the smaller package, but like what you really want is that. But we get that, like, we want to build up trust so that before you commit to that level. So that's why we still have these other packages. But the whole point of this is less so that that we're trying to necessarily sell that bigger package on the call. It's more so that we're just trying to differentiate the experience. If every other person they talk to is like just selling them SEO, and we're kind of like, well, I mean, like we'll sell you SEO, but like what you ultimately want is this, and this is the stuff that would come down the road. Maybe start with a smaller package, let our team build trust, but then we want to get you to this way more advanced thing where you guys can really scale your business because of it. Now all of a sudden it's another SEO company where all you're getting is a 12-month SEO contract, and you're just kind of like, you're stuck in that, versus a company where you're establishing like a baseline trust, but the goal is to get you to a place where you're working on way more advanced stuff. So like it's a lot more promising it's a lot more exciting. And then if it doesn't work, then you don't proceed to the bigger package at some point. So your risk is not as high. Because I think the other thing is like people are making a lot of decisions based off of risk management too. So like if we're selling like a BLT and everyone else is a ham salad sandwich or something, the BLT is like a lot more expensive. You can get fired if it doesn't work out.
Right.
So this would maybe help ease some of the concerns about the risk, but also just help us position our base package higher because of the anchor. Like the anchor might serve more to help like raise the floor than selling the anchor, in some sense.
Okay, and I had an idea. So Paul, here's the other thing too. So our CAC right now is $11,000, right? $11,000. What if we did this, and this could actually work for these really small businesses as well too. What if, to your point, like this is something we could test. We test if the CAC is 11,000, and it's like people are willing to buy a $4,000 a month SEO program or whatever the number is. Okay, it's going to take us, well, if we have to repay back the CAC, but from actual profit, right? It's going to take us a while to repay that CAC, right? Not if we started with consulting though. That's going to be like much more profitable. So what if we like reframed it and said, how could we get $22,000 in like upfront of profit, which would then allow us to spend enough money to go get 2 new customers right away? And what if we reframed it of how would we get 22,000 in profit and solve the person's goal without selling them an SEO package right out of the gate, right? So what if instead, to your point, we sold them a system and we said, look, this is what you need. If you need SEO and ads, and so we could have a questionnaire where people like rate their own success, right? Where it's like, is your business as profitable as you want it to be? No. Is your close rate 50% or greater? No. Is your, do you get more leads than your business can handle? No. Do you need way more leads? Yes. Do you have this? We ask these questions and we say, great, you don't need an SEO campaign yet. And here's why. You're not going to actually get maximum value out of SEO campaign, right? There's instant gold within your current system right now that we can mine right away. That'll make you more money more quickly, right? Then let's get that ready. Then let's start doing the other stuff, right? Or some kind of framework around that. And then what if that was a $22,000 program, right? But it's not a monthly, so it's not a monthly ongoing. This is a one-time program you need to buy. And we could help them make payments or whatever. But you buy this, and we literally give you the keys to here's a $10 million business and this stuff you need to be doing, and we'll work with you on it. So it's like the River. It's like the what we did for River, right? It's the liftoff framework, but it's all the other components and pieces of everything else we've learned and how they maximize. And then it's also helping them understand, should you do SEO? Should it just be ads? What are the channels? How all the stuff? It's like a full marketing plan. So you're not just shooting in the dark. And we could figure out how to reframe it. But if we could pull off something like that, then we would do what Hormozi did, which is every time we sold a customer, we would get enough profit to then have enough to go get 2 new customers at our current CAC.
I think my only concern is like, why would it necessarily be more profitable? Because I almost think that that's like our most expensive thing to service is like a skilled person researching, understanding, preparing, consulting, meeting with the client. So like my only concern would be more expensive for us versus cheaper than a process that we've like ironed out and done repeatedly?
Well, at the moment, the liftoff framework was done by me, and I didn't charge the business any extra. So it depends on who it's done by, I guess would be the question.
But and you should count yourself as a cost, because otherwise it's not repeatable.
Yeah, I mean, if the question is if we sold consulting, what would our cost be on that? I would say it's more profitable than our service product, where we've got more people involved. You got links, you got engineering, you're setting up the stuff, you got all the meetings, you got account managers, project managers, and engine techs, and like, I think the consulting would be way more profitable.
It's possible. I think that the most expensive thing for us is actually like all the things you mentioned, like links, the engineering piece, like that's actually the cheapest part of our process. And it's like very standardized and uniform. The hardest thing is like the flexible preparation for very diverse sets of clients and being able to like have like the prep work to give them good direction on what they should do, like the researching and everything as well. So,
I mean, with the liftoff framework that we sold, I didn't do any research because I already had it. I'd already built it, and I went in and like I gave them the research to do. So I was like, all right, come back with your CAC, come back with your lifetime gross profit, come back with your different channels. Like, so they came to the meeting, and I just had to go run a 2-hour meeting with them. That's all I did, and they did all the rest of the research. So I guess that's what I was expecting is we come back with the whole
if we have a really defined framework and process that we just can repeat. Where then like the inputs from them on our questions, like give us we sort of have an algorithm to like take those and like then share the output. That could be pretty profitable for sure.
All right, I got to run to my next meeting, but I think here's what we should be thinking about today and coming up with ideas on is, I guess, Paul, on your front, I would want to pose the question, and maybe you could research this. How could we, with ads and SEO and our own marketing, could we start to speak to and attract multi-location businesses? Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be a really powerful niche for us, where the tech that we have and the stuff we can show, I think is just really powerful there. Like businesses that really need a strong local component, and even better than multi-location businesses. I think that's really where we're going to shine.
I think we should start incorporating those into our meta campaign and seeing how they do.
That's what I'm
statics saying. And probably some more over the shoulder videos and stuff too.
I think we should lean into a lot more of that and really try to speak to people who have multi-location businesses, people who have local, it's like local rankings matter to them, and local rankings on scale matters to them. Like, I think we should really start to push that, because I think that solves a lot of the problem, because they have more budget, they have this pain. This pain is really expensive. It's really valuable for them to solve this, and like they're going to probably buy bigger programs. So I think that solves part of the problem. Then I think the second thing we should be thinking about and kind of processing through is, what could we do to get more CAC up front, like more of the CAC payback from clients by, to your point, reframing this thing and selling it differently, more uniquely, where it's not same old, same old. Like maybe we could kill two birds with one stone here, where it's like, okay, to actually be different, we sell something different at the beginning. That thing is actually more profitable, which then pays back our CAC, which then gets, and then we build a lot of trust with people, and then they buy bigger programs, blah, blah, blah. So like we reframe it and we create a different process that ends up allowing us to sell them a lot more of what they actually need, right? To getting a bigger program, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. This is super helpful, guys. I got to jump to my next meeting. I will see you guys in the next one.
All right.
Y'all.
Yes.